Josh Frydenberg, I think we've established contact. Good morning, Treasurer. Hey, I just want to get more serious for a moment because the whole cryptocurrency, I won't call it a craze because it's been around for a while. If we're going to include this as part of our monetary everyday of life, how are we going to understand it first? I mean, because it seems to me it's the under 50s that get it. It's the over 50s like myself that really struggle with it.
Well, the first thing to say, Tony, is there's a revolution, and it's a digital-led revolution in our financial system. I heard you talking earlier about cheques. Back in 1995, 38% of non-cash payments were using cheques. Today, it's just 0.2%. So cheques are nearly gone. Cash is in decline. It's fallen from 69% of payments back in 2007 to just 27% in 2019, and that would even be lower today. And things like digital wallets, buy now, pay later, cryptocurrencies, they're fast becoming a norm. But our regulatory framework hasn't really adjusted to those digital technologies, even though every single day in Australia, about 55 million non-cash payments are made, and that is worth some $650 billion. And over 800,000 Australians have owned a cryptocurrency, and it's rising rapidly. And of course, buy now, pay later is used by more than 5 million Australians. So these are very real issues, and we need a regulatory framework that's fit for purpose. So what we're seeking to do is enhance competition and the transparency around it by modernising the payment system so that these new products and services are covered by regulation. We also want people and businesses that are buying and selling cryptocurrencies to actually have a financial services license, which will give people who buy and sell a little bit more certainty and confidence about the credibility of the parties that they're interacting with. And then, as you said earlier, we're looking at our own digital currency with the Reserve Bank of Australia.
So can I just ask you about the cryptocurrency? And again, I'm pretty uneducated when it comes to this, but my understanding is that Bitcoin, for example, it's very much like the share market. I mean, $1 can end up 60 cents, or it might end up $2.50.
It's volatile.
Yeah, very volatile. So how do business owners, if you've got, say, a shoe shop, right? So the owner of the shoe shop, the customer says, look, I want to pay that in Bitcoin. So how do you know you're actually getting the true value of what you've just sold?
Well, the first thing I'd say is, as the Treasurer, I'm not about to give individual financial advice to people. That would be the last thing I would seek to do. But people do need to acquaint themselves with the research, with the rules, with the nature of these investments, because they are very volatile and they're an emerging area of technology. But if we were to have a Reserve Bank of Australia-backed digital currency, then that would provide a bit more security and certainty as to how it would operate.
How do you do that?
Well, again, you'd have to create that, and it would be linked to our traditional currency. But at the same time, that is something we're investigating in, the feasibility of doing it. We've yet to commit to that. But that's where other countries are heading. China has been leaning in this area, some of the smaller nations around the world as well. But what a crypto asset or a digital currency really is, it's a digital form of value that's exchanged between the parties. And it uses it's a complex term, but it uses digital ledger technology, which is really just a record of transactions, and that's what blockchain is. And it's very complex. A lot of people can't get their heads around it.
No, I can't. I mean, I've got to be honest with you, Josh. I mean, you're talking a language I just don't understand.
And most people would feel the same way. And you're right, but it's the way of the future in that a lot of younger people seeking to transact in this way. The Commonwealth Bank, Australia's largest retail bank, has said that it's going to allow transactions in this area and is setting up its own systems. So there is definitely a movement to mainstream what until now has been a technology that's operating in the shadows.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, you say that more and more people Well, not more and more, but there's a gradual sort of increase in the amount of people using it. But I saw a media release come through on an inbox the other day from Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, of course, one of the leading teams in the NBL, who are now accepting, I don't know if it's Bitcoin specifically, but certainly cryptocurrency for people to pay their memberships and buy merchandise. And I thought, well, geez, that is a real step in the direction of this new age, isn't it?
Absolutely. And don't forget digital wallets as well, which is, your Apple Pay and your Google Pay and your Alipay. That's really taken off. And what we want to see is that new entrants coming into this space can do so with their innovative products into what is a level playing field. And I don't want the rules for Australia's payment system effectively made by companies in Silicon Valley. I actually want those rules to be made here in Australia. And I think it's really important for the stability of the financial system. It's important for our taxation system. It's important for competition and choice, and also for getting better products and lower fees to consumers. And that's why we're really focused on this fit-for-purpose regulatory architecture.
But is there also a risk, the more we get into this, of it being corrupted? If it's the true value of these currencies is based on demand or whatever, is there an avenue there for corruption?
Well, there's certainly opportunities for less than reputable players globally to be entering into this area, and that's why having a financial services license required by those businesses that are buying and selling cryptocurrency is so important, because it will ensure they adhere to appropriate standards with respect to their governance and their operations, which will give Australians more confidence that they're dealing with a reputable party.